and welcome on the panel about biotechnology. I would like to invite the panelists, Irma Veberic, representing Roche, welcome. Alina Pszczółkowska, representing AstraZeneca. Piotr Byrski, Molecule.one, and Mirosław Kwaśniewski, back on the stage, Imagine Me. Thank you. Let's have a seat. Thank you very much for coming here for this most important panel on impact. Why most important? Because we are talking about biotechnology, which is exponential technology. It means that it is developing as fast as almost nothing else in the business. And we have a chance to really leverage biotechnology as Poland. Furthermore, biotechnology is a super broad topic, and because we asked the organizers to have 8 hours to discuss it, we only got 20 minutes. We really have to narrow it down to a few topics only. Those will be around medicine, drug development, and digital tools around healthcare. I would like to start and a little bit tell you the stage for this panel. We have a great opportunity to see 2 different perspectives. 2 ladies are representing big companies, global one, which are present in Poland, and they are doing a lot of things in biotech. 2 gentlemen are representing Polish scale-ups, which are trying to go away from Poland to other countries and become worldwide companies. So I think this is very good setup to really understand the opportunities and challenges of biotech in Poland. I would start with the first question, which basically tries to outline what do we do with biotechnology in Poland, and to make it a little bit bittersweet, what are the biggest challenges for organizations and companies which are working in this space in Poland? And I would start first with Roche.
Dzień dobry first. So starting directly, what are the biggest challenges we need to overcome? And I would start with Poland need to be very attractive still. And that means that legislation and whatever ecosystem we are living in should support innovation. And that's something what we need to address. If I come to the second challenge, and it's connected with sustainability of the healthcare system we are living in, it is clear, especially now with the COVID-19 and humanitarian crisis we are living now, came out even more stronger that the current system, healthcare system, is not working anymore. And that's valid for Poland, and that's valid also for other countries. So there is a strong need to change, to transform healthcare. And the third one is connected with healthy population. And we know that in Poland, we are lagging behind, especially if we are looking to access and affordability. In access, just one example, we are waiting for the reimbursement for more than 800 days. In Germany is 120 days. So these are the things we will need to address to be competitive with other countries. And I'm pretty sure that my colleague will go more deeper to the legislation part.
Yep, Alina, thank you, Irma, for setting the stage. And Alina, would you be able to build on top of that from AstraZeneca perspective?
Yes, I think it's this attractiveness, because Poland is lagging a bit behind as it comes to the biotech when you compare us to the European countries. So based on the statistics, we have 227 companies working, or the public and the private working in this area in the 2022, which is not a lot, and it's pretty stable. So I'm not talking about getting into the level which we have in the US. Of course, it's the high ambition with almost the 8 million of the workplaces in this area. But what can be our kind of competitive advantage we build on? So as Irma said, is making the country attractive. So creating the environment which supports also the commercialization of the science we have. So it starts with the science and with people whom we have in the country, and this is the advantage, I think, of Poland, because we do have the human potential, and we see that every day We have more than 1,500 people working in the R&D space, including scientists and researchers working in the early stages, right? But then you need to create the environment to bring the capital in Poland, which will invest into the biotech, because as today, the venture capital is almost not present in Poland comparing to the other countries.
Yeah, thank you. So how does it look from the startup scale-up perspective?
That's a point I can very much agree with, and I wanted to start with that. So it's while it's the case that the availability of venture capital funding has become bigger and bigger in the last few years, it's not so true for the biotech sector, because in Poland there aren't any biotech-focused VC funds. So and the capital needs for the biotech sector are obviously very different from web technologies, crypto, other sectors. So for us, sorry, but I'm going to speak from our perspective. The two biggest challenges was always access to capital and access to customers. And we both solve them by trying to work with our partners from Western Europe and the United States. So on the access to customer parts, no innovation in biotech happens on your own. And as we are in early discovery, this is part of the whole pipeline that is only a few companies in Poland really do it. And they are also aspiring, I would say, and not established players like AstraZeneca and Roche. So I would say that both of those challenges can be solved with the maturity of the ecosystem, and if the legal framework is right, I absolutely agree with that.
Thank you, and Mirek.
Yeah, so I will refer to this attractiveness of Polish market and the access to the customers. So I think that a lot depends on the education of the society, education of biomedical society, doctors, clinicians, but also decision makers. So there is a lot of things which are appearing on the market, on the Western market, but the acceptance of these new solutions in Poland is very limited. It's related to rather limited knowledge about these solutions, and to be attractive for Polish companies, Polish biotech companies, but also from companies from abroad, we need to be more open for collaboration with clinics, collaboration in the partnership between private companies and public sector, and these are these key points which I think can stop or can speed up the acceptance of these new solutions in the market, Polish market.
Okay, thank you. So let me try to rephrase what I heard, and it seems like I see it in the two ways. From one perspective, we are talking about how to adapt the new technologies which are coming to Poland, so they are more easily available for the patients. On the other hand, there is a commercialization concept, how to make Polish biotech unicorn possible, right? How to make Polish companies not leaving the Poland because they will search for the capital somewhere else. And obviously those are two very different discussions, but it seems like they are narrowing down to our ability to absorb new technology and to understand the value of the biotech and how it will shape this century, in fact. So I would try to give you a tricky question now. Looking at the Poland specifically, from those two perspectives, you can choose which one you want to attack first. What is something unique about Poland which we should embrace, and what is our competitive advantage so we can either become a modern healthcare country, or we can become the nest of unicorns in biotech? So I would start the same as last time.
Yeah, I would love to see Poland as pioneering in innovation. But as we discussed, there should be a strong legal support there. which is really lagging behind. And I mentioned, you know, that there is an urgent need for changing the healthcare system also here in Poland. So together, and it was good to hear this morning, Minister, what's the direction we would like to go here in Poland. But my invitation would be, you know, that there is so much knowledge present here in different stakeholders, and it would be nice that we would sit around the same table and discuss how to move Poland to more sustainable, more compassionate healthcare system, which will be really built around the patient needs. And when I said sit around the same table, I mean pharma companies, I mean policymakers, patients, and all those who are dealing with patients. So we need to have a voice. So my invitation is going into the direction, shaping the healthcare ecosystem, but shaping it together.
Okay, I understand. So to rephrase it, it seems like we have all the pieces, but we are not yet putting them together, right? There is a talent, there is a technology, and there is willingness, but the table is lacking, right? Okay.
More collaboration is needed.
Understood, understood. Okay, so that's the task for IKEA, maybe. Alina.
So I will start from saying or referring to what you said, Łukasz, that these are the two different discussions, not necessarily, because what I call the biotech ecosystem in the country, this contains the focus on the innovation, access to the innovation from the different angles. And this is like a big pharma has the role to play to work in the early research, work with people, giving them mentoring also to the new startups, making sure that there is the access to the knowledge how to make sure that the small startups will be successful. And there is a good understanding of what is needed to commercialize the products, right? Now, coming back to your question, what is our competitive advantage? I think what we have and what I see every day, as I said, among our employees, the startup, the students, we have the human potential. Now, to make sure that we leverage on this human potential, it may not be enough to catch up with everything. So there is the strategy when you try to focus on something and really invest in the smaller piece to make sure that by focusing and supporting the specific area of knowledge or that you can get this competitive advantage. It might be about the data or access to the data, because what we know that the artificial intelligence and also the retrospective analysis, they speed up the early research. So if we find something which Poland can be unique about, I think this might be our competitive advantage.
Thank you. And I wanted to also point out one thing. It is super difficult to create a new medicine, right? It costs a huge amount of money. It is capital heavy. But also we can see that biotech is going towards more and more digitization. And maybe this is also the intersection where Poland is super strong. The IT skills brought into biotech. So what would you think, Piotr, about the competitive advantage?
That's, I guess you could say that's one of the reasons I started the company, because I think that the human potential here, especially in the IT sector, but also in chemistry, and we need both to succeed in this, is humongous. And it's really hard for me to think about any other place in the world where it's so concentrated, maybe Israel. But otherwise than this, it's more scattered. So one point that I think you have made is that we already have all the things in place, but there lacks a table in between. Yes and no, because that's true that we would all benefit from such a table, but on the other hand, as you very rightfully pointed out, bringing a drug to the market is insanely difficult and cost intensive. So we will not do it on our own. The budgets are simply not enough, and they will not be enough. So I guess my encouragement to others in the panel and to all people in the sector would be to look at potential ways to collaborate both locally and internationally, because we're not going to do this on our own. And we live in a pretty interesting time in terms of what's going on in the biotech market. I came here from a conference in London, a biotech conference, and the words that was heard most was bloodbath. And in times like this, large successes are born as well. So, yeah, my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you. And Mirek, your perspective when it comes to your experience in scaling the business.
Yeah. So I'm a scientist. Since 22 years, I'm a scientist. And I started the company because I was, or I am still frustrated about the speed of adoption of new technologies to the healthcare system. And I think that it's general perspective of young, let's say, ambitious people. We have a lot of very skillful biotechnologists, bioinformaticians, data analysts in Poland, and also programmers. So because the entry point to the medical applications, for example, is quite low in comparison to pharma, there is a lot of new startups appearing every year on the market. Today we have something like 300 startups, biotech startups in Poland. And all of them, they think that they can change the system. However, to build an idea or to build a prototype is quite simple, quite fast, and you don't need a lot of money. So to set up your own startup, to bring your idea to the prototype level is quite easy. But then to move it into mature product and to sell it to customers, to have it adopted, this is very difficult process. And without support of Polish decision makers, policy makers, many of them, almost all of these startups, they will disappear quickly because they can grow to the first stage very easily, but then to have a, you said unicorns. You know, to have a unicorn is really difficult, but to build a system based on collaboration of these new technologies and to put it to the market should be much easier. So we should not just wait for unicorns. We should prepare a space for collaboration and space for good legislation and this round table where we should discuss where we want to be in the future.
Thank you.
I read once an article where those companies were called zebras, so we should grow zebras rather than unicorns.
Yes.
But a lot of them.
Got it. So that's, in fact, the conclusion which I'm taking with me. Maybe instead of trying to build the next Silicon Valley in Poland, maybe we could focus on something which is a little bit farther ahead but has a greater potential for us, which is maybe the biotech valley. With this thought, I will leave you to really think about biotech much more often. Thank you very much.
Thank you.